there is this broad consensus in the South about so many issues, like restructuring and the issue of power shift and self-determination to a certain extent in terms of regional autonomy, autonomy to the states, devolution of power. These are the issues of the day, and of course you can't blame them, and some and many would even commend them to say, okay, fine, you know, we also believe the presidency should come down to the South because we believe a Southerner should be president. The reality of politics is that it is a game of numbers, and secondly, most importantly, we mustn't get emotional about this. It's all about the parties and their conventions. It is the party that will make that decision, and not a regional group. Nnamdi Kanu in the East, I believe strongly, and I've been coming to the East for many years, as you know, and I'm a friend of the East. I love the East. There's no Eastern governor that I do not know well, whether it's Umahi or Obiano, all of them. We're friends. I have great admiration for people of the East. But I'll tell you this, that the aspirations of Nnamdi Kanu, in my view, is shared by the overwhelming majority of young people in the East. So these are people that you cannot ignore. Where I think we need to be careful is where we say, okay, fine, that we have these aspirations, and then we begin to try to implement them by the force of arms. There's nothing wrong, in my view, with Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho speaking about self-determination. That is their constitutional right, and people are entitled to have that view. What I think there's a problem, though, is where people begin to pick up arms and guns and target policemen, target security personnel. So it doesn't help your case. It doesn't help the court. Kanu stands accused of doing that. I haven't seen any evidence of that, and I don't want to believe he would ever do such a thing, and neither do I believe the IPOB would. First of all, I condemn the fact that he was tortured in Kenya. That is unacceptable to me. He was tortured for 8 days and so on and so forth. The circumstances under which he was brought back to Nigeria are questionable. The challenge we have is that the call for self-determination is now vogue, whether anybody likes to accept it or not. And this is something that we need to understand. And what we need, amongst the younger generation, what we need to do is find a way of meeting them halfway by saying, listen, we don't have to go our separate ways if you devolve power. But many of them want to go their separate ways, and we need to give them a reason to want to stay in Nigeria, and that means you must have an equitable Nigeria where everybody is treated equally and fairly, and the wrongs of the past are put right. Let me give you an example. 3 million people killed during our civil war. Civilians. 100,000 people killed in the first pogrom before the civil war from the east in the north. Issues like abandoned property, issues like the way in which the Igbos were humiliated and marginalized over the years. The Nigerian, I'm a Nigerian, has never apologized for this. I believe that that's where it all starts, the healing process, for the psyche of the Igbo man. If I were an Igbo man, I know how I'd feel. You must always put yourself on the other side. Know how I'd feel. I'd feel terrible. And I'd feel so much resentment in me.